to Career UpRising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hi, everybody. Here we are. Welcome to episode 1, Join the Uprising. That's right. This is the flagship episode of Career UpRising, and it's being born right here in front of your eyes. So welcome to the first episode. And this is extra special because it's being born at the same time as this entire network that it's on, Inflow Radio. So welcome. I'm Lorraine Rise, and I'm your host, and I'm a career coach, and I'm basically going to be your tour guide on this journey, and I think it's going to be a good one. I'm really, really honored to be on this platform with you today. So thank you for listening. And if you are listening in real time or near real time here, it's the spring of 2018 as we are launching and kind of birthing this new network, Inflow Radio, and Career UpRising. My show is a part of that. So if you're listening now, we're getting things kicked off, but maybe if you're listening down the road in the weeks and months or even years ahead, then that means maybe you dug this out of the archives. So if you did, good for you. Either way, I'm so glad that you are here today and that you found me. And I have to say, this platform of Inflow Radio is absolutely the best place for my show to be. All about being in the flow of life and our careers, of course, which is my topic. So career flow, right? That could have been maybe a good name for this show because we're going to be talking about how to get into a better flow and a better state of mind, better situation in your career, whatever your current situation might be. That's what I'm going to help you to move through. And you're going to hear a nice blend of kind of the practical career and job search advice, but you're also going to hear a blend of that, and then also the higher level, big picture side of things, right? Because whenever we're trying to move from one space to another, we always have to have that kind of big picture vision that guides us overall. But then we also need the tactical kind of day-to-day steps to get us from A to Z and to implement that vision. And that's what this show is going to do, is bring those two together and help you get from one spot to another, wherever you are right now. We always have to start where we are now in your career to where it is you want to go. And it's going to be a journey. So let's kick things off here. So what are we going to talk about? Our kind of inaugural episode here. What I think would make the most sense is to tell you a little bit about my career story and how I got to this point of being your host on this show and being, I would say, pretty much obsessed with helping people in their professional lives. And that's really the right word for it. I know it's a strong word, but I really have an obsession and a mission. And it's to help people just like you to be more joyful, more engaged, and just happier in what it is they do every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or whatever your work week might look like. So that is my mission, but more on that later. You're going to learn a little bit more about me and my career story as this show goes on. But we're also going to kind of define what I mean by a career uprising, right? You're probably thinking, what the heck is that? It's kind of a little word I kind of made up. Not really, but I'm kind of adopting it. as mine, because I love what that word uprising really just embodies. And I have an idea in my mind of what it embodies for me. And maybe it's a little bit different for you, but we're going to talk about what a career uprising is and why you should want one, and how you can have one too. I'm going to share some stories about my own in my career. But I have to say too, in planning for this show, because I want to give you a good preview today of what you can expect in the weeks and the months ahead if you stick with me on this journey and listen to all the episodes that are going to be forthcoming. I have to say, in planning for this show, inspiration just overtook me. And I love when that happens, right? Because you want to talk about being in flow. I really was when it came time to think about, what do I want to share? What do I want to talk about? And I really just surrendered and kind of gave up control and said, to the universe, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to share? What do people need to know? And man, it just flooded through me. It was really the coolest thing. So I have an arsenal of just amazing topics that I can't wait to work through with you over the shows that are coming. So stay tuned for that. It'll be kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion, one episode at a time. We'll go through all of those ideas and topics that have just been coming through me. And then you're also going to get to know how you can connect with me, how you can take it a step further. If you like what you're hearing and you want more, or maybe you've got your own challenge in your professional life right now, you're going to get to learn more about how you can connect with me, how you can get more information, how you can take the next step if that's something that speaks to you. But if nothing else, we have our hour together here, right? And this show is going to be broadcast every Monday, 12 noon Eastern. I'm here on the East Coast. That's where I'm at. So that's where you'll be able to find us. So you can find me on demand, or you can find me live. If you do find me live in the very near future here, you're going to be able to call in, which is so exciting. I'm really looking forward to taking live calls, connecting and engaging right with you, and answering your own personal questions about whatever might be going on. If you're in a job search and you're looking for work, or maybe you're just unhappy and you don't know if you should make a move or not. There's so many things I can help you move through. So if it speaks to you to do so, and you want to call me live on a show, I would love to answer your questions. And you can do that through the US number 1-760-456-7277. That's 1-760-456-7277. But for right now, we need to get to know each other a little bit better, right? So, why am I a career coach, right? Let me tell you a little bit more about this mission that I have, and this obsession, as I called it. I could have done a lot of different things with my life, and I have done other things. I have not always been a career coach. I've reinvented myself professionally a couple of times, and but this is where I'm at now, and I love being a professional career coach. And I just feel like work has always been a theme in my life. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of our lives, times we just have a theme, something that is just so strong in our lives. It's recurring, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Sometimes we have themes in our lives that are negative, but this one is a positive one for me. And I've always enjoyed going to work. I've always known that I would work. Well, I haven't always enjoyed going to work, not always, but what I mean is that I've always known that I wanted to work. I've always felt like it gave me such a purpose during the day, and even when it came time to have my daughter 8 years ago, I knew that I would go back to work. And I'll tell you that story in a little bit. So hang on for that. But, it's funny. I was just saying to my husband the other day that if I had millions and millions of dollars, and, I would still be doing this. I would still be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Nothing would change. If money was no object, nothing would change. In fact, the only thing that might change is maybe I would double down and invest even more in my business and go even bigger, because this is something that I want to be doing. And I want that feeling for you, following what feels good. I want you to have that feeling where you are thinking, man, if I didn't have to do this, I would still want to be doing it. It's really an amazing feeling. And it's something that I think that we can achieve here, right? So we all kind of have our thing, but this is mine. Work is my theme in my life, and so I love talking about it. It doesn't get old for me at all, but so it's all evolved over the last few years, and I really kind of took this mission and this obsession that I have, and I've now manifested it into my private coaching practice. So I'm now the owner of Work Smart Career Counseling. And like I said, I'm based here in the Northern Virginia area, just about an hour and a half or so west of DC. And this is where I've lived my whole life, minus a quick detour to college. But I've really, these are where my roots are. And so if you're listening from this area, fabulous. But if not, I help clients all over the United States in every time zone. And actually, I had my first international client recently as well. So it's an international thing. But needless to say, I love what I do. And the reason that I love it is because I have aligned my purpose and my talent and what I'm best at with a way to make an income, right? They're not separate anymore. Now it's a win-win. Now I get to make an income, but help the people that I want to help and do what I think I'm best at. And I want to help you to do that as well, to align the way that you're making money, because you got to do that, right? With something that you might actually be wanting to do. So we can kind of toss out that old, well, work is just work and, it's just going to stink. Like that's just the way it's going to be. So this show is for people who don't believe that, who believe that yes, you can enjoy what you're doing. So, but yeah, the business is amazing. It's Work Smart. It's growing, it's expanding, and it's really been just evolving beautifully over the last several years. And this show is just one more way that it's evolving, one more manifestation of it. Growth is truly, it's a beautiful thing. And it's even a family affair. I've got several members of my family playing pivotal roles in my business. So it's a family gig now, which I love. But there's a lot of ways that I help clients through my business. And this show is going to be one, but some of the services that I offer and the challenges that I help clients work through, just to kind of give you a sense of what this is all going to be about. So career transitions is one. That's a big one. Absolutely. If you are here and you want to go there to a totally different field, or maybe you just want to make a quick little pivot from something else to something kind of different, whether it's big or whether it's small, I help people through all kinds of career transitions. And you got to have a plan when you're doing one thing and then you say, I don't want to do that with my life anymore. And sometimes that happens when we're 45 years old, right? You wake up and you want to do something totally different. You've got to have a plan. So if that sounds familiar to you, that is something that I can help you to move through. And I love also interview coaching. I do a lot of interview coaching. I love helping people to kind of find their voice, so to speak, and be confident and authentic when they're in front of employers. If you have ever been totally freaked out by the idea of having to go on a job interview, maybe it's been many years, then you will find some solace and some comfort in this show, because I'm going to help you to move through that as well. And then we will touch on some of the more nitty-gritty job search, aspects, writing a resume, there's LinkedIn, there's all those things as well. But we're also going to talk really at a high level about just strategy, confidence, overcoming fear, claiming your value and being able to ask for a raise or a promotion. There's so many different things that can kind of trip us up along the way. But, and some people too, it's just a matter of figuring out, what am I good at? What do I want to do with my life? What are my skills? What are my strengths? That's a question that I can certainly help you to answer as well. And some of the most common challenges that I would say that I help clients with, and listen to these and tell me if any of these resonate with you, because these are the things that I think hear the most from clients. Low self-confidence is one, and that can have a lot of different take a lot of different forms, but a lot of times people aren't confident in how to market themselves to employers, how to interview, how to just get back into the workforce if they've been out of it for a while. Being out of the job market for a long time is definitely something that can really scare people. How do I even approach that? Who's going to want to hire me? Or if you're in a job now, but maybe you feel bored or complacent, burnout, there's a lot, we get to a lot of different places, and I have to say, one of the most common things that I hear from clients is that they've been at one job for a long time, right? And so after a period of time, we get bored, we get burnout, or we get complacent, and that's never a safe place to be. So if that's you, I think that you'll find a lot in this show as well. And just knowing what your strengths are and knowing how to leverage them into a satisfying, fulfilling career. I'm living proof of that now, working for myself. Like I said, I've completely blended together, what I love most, and just I made a job. If it wasn't a job before, I made a job for myself out of what I know best and what I want to do. And it was something you'll hear more about this throughout the show as I talk about my career story, but it was something that it's a completely self-created career I have now as a coach, which I love. It makes it even better. But so fear of speaking, fear of interviewing, fear of just, putting yourself out there. These are all common challenges that I hear from clients. And in my relatively short time here on earth, I'm in my mid-30s, I guess. Can I get away with saying early 30s? I don't know. We'll go with mid-30s. I've experienced quite a lot already in this short time, and I want to share a lot of that with you. So let me take a minute now and tell you a little bit more about my story and how I got to be the host of this show, talking to you today. And I'm going to continue to kind of weave the story throughout some future shows, but truly the majority of this show, it's going to be about you. It's going to be about you. You're the listener, your challenges, your barriers, your goals, and how I can help you to get there. Because I love what I do now as a career coach, but I didn't always feel this way. And there's some stories, there's some scars, there's a lot that I've picked up along the way before I got to this place of joy in my career. But because I've crossed that threshold and because I've made it to that place, I feel that now I can coach you to do the same thing. So like I said, I've been through a lot professionally in a short period of time. I've been hired, I've been fired, I've been loved, hated, envied, called the boss's pet, and everything in between. And it's all made me who I am today. And I accept it all. I love it all. And I embrace it. And we never know what the future is going to hold. This could all evolve into something else in the next couple of years, right? Kind of like that old interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? We don't know, right? We don't know. And that's okay. So I'm excited to see where my business and my growth is going to go in the years ahead. And I'm really excited to join you as you ask yourself that same question. But I have worked for nearly every size employer out there already. I really have. I have worked for startups with, I think, 19 employees. Yeah, very small. A little too small for me, but I've worked for employers with 19 employees, like I said, 200, 60,000, every single number. And now, of course, I work for myself. So a team of one, right? Although I'm not really a team of one, but that's how it started out. I've got stories, I've got scars, I've got it all, guys. And I have a feeling that you do too. So like I said, I'm not old yet, but I've experienced a lot, and I want to share that with you. And the point of all this too, really, is that I know what it's like to reinvent yourself professionally. Do you know what that's like? It's hard. I've done it twice already. In fact, by the time I was 30, I truly had changed careers twice already. I didn't really think of it as a significant career change at the time, but when I look back now, I think, yeah, I guess I did change careers twice. I think they say the average person, I don't know, changes careers, what, 3 or 4 times, right, in their lifetime? And I may change again. Like I said, who knows what this will all evolve into. Maybe I'll be doing something different down the road. I don't think so. Not too different, but you never know. But that's what I do as a coach. I have reinvented myself, and I help you to kind of reinvent yourself if that's what you need to do. I'm very familiar with that process. And in my short career that I had, which in the corporate world, which was really only about 9 years, I've learned quite a bit. I don't know everything, but I know a hell of a lot. I know what it's like to be unemployed and not know where your next paycheck is coming from. I know what it's like to be abruptly and unceremoniously fired. That's a great story. I'll do a whole show on that one, guys. I promise. That's a good juicy story. I know what it's like to be on top of the world and be successful. I know what it's like to be envied for my success, and not necessarily in a good way. I know what it's like to be utterly terrified to speak in front of people. I do, believe it or not, right? I had a lot to overcome there. I'm going to do a whole show on that one as well. I know what it's like to win. I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to push yourself into new territory. I know that can be terrifying, but it can be done. These are all things that I know and that I'm going to share with you. And I want to know, what things do you know in your career? What do you not know that you want to know? So let me tell you one quick story here real quick, okay, of a career uprising of sorts that I had. So I can kind of share with you what this means to me, and maybe you'll recognize yourself in a part of it. But I want to give you an example of what a career uprising is. So about 9 years ago or so, my daughter's 8 now, so just right a little bit before that, I went on to maternity leave when it was near time for me to have my daughter. And that was the only break that I had ever taken. I had been working since I was 15. I really had, because I do love to go to work every day. I love, I've always, and really for the most part, had jobs that I've enjoyed. I've been lucky for the most part there. But, so I took my time off, the 3 months or so that we normally take. And at the time that I left, I remember this so clearly. At the time that I left, I was so burnt out. I was in such a negative frame of mind. And maybe some of it was the hormones from being pregnant. I don't know. But I don't think that was all of it. But I remember being just in such a negative place. I felt like the center that I was managing was like falling apart. I wasn't happy with a lot of my staff. I just didn't want to have this responsibility anymore. So the timing of my maternity leave was great. And I actually remember going a little bit earlier than I needed to because I was just so ready to go. So I was in this negative frame of mind that I'm sure that you can probably relate to. And so I had my beautiful daughter. And then in the spring, it was about March, it was time for me to go back to work. And I was surprised at how I felt, because I loved being home. I did. And I loved my little baby girl. And I was kind of digging this time off thing, right? I'd never really done this. So I was expecting, though, that I would be dreading going back to work, right? Oh, that last day of maternity leave, right? We all think we're going to dread that. But I wasn't. I found that, I don't know if it was giving birth or what, or just the time off, but something changed me. And when I went back, I was so energized and so excited. I was so ready to go back to work. And it was almost like that negative frame of mind, that burnout mentality that I had was erased. I did, instead of picking up right where I left off, I went back with this amazing, refreshed new attitude. I can remember it just clear as day. It's 8 years ago. And I was so happy to be at work every day. But I was happy to come home with my daughter too. But it was just like this perfect balance. And I was just rejuvenated. And what ended up happening was I went on that year to have the best year at work I'd ever had. The center that I was managing went on to become number one in the market for our sales quota by the end of that year. My staff was great. Things were working out. I had a good work-life balance. I wanted to be at work. I was curious. I was engaged. I had everything that I didn't have before. And what happened was, because I had changed internally, because I brought this new, refreshed mindset to my job, it wasn't the same job that I left. And now I was successful. Now I was hitting all these sales quotas and getting recognition in our market. And we ended up being number one that year. And that's what happens when you understand that how you are showing up internally will directly affect the results that you get on the outside. That's an uprising. This was a career uprising for me. But it's only because I showed up differently when I came back. So maybe taking time off is the answer for some people. Maybe it's something else. But for me, that's what it was. And I want you to be able to have that as well. So here's what we're going to do. Let's take just a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. And I think maybe if we have time, I have one more little story that I can tell you to kind of illustrate this career uprising. But yeah, let's take a little break. And then I've also got a free gift that I want to tell you about and kind of a special invitation for you. So stay tuned, and we're coming back in just a few seconds. Hey everyone! While the show takes just a quick break, I want to invite you to connect with me personally to get help in your career. If you like what you've heard so far, sign up for my mailing list so you can be a part of my community. I offer all kinds of career-related advice, and I have a free guide that I created just for you called Strategies for Interview Success, and you'll get it instantly in your inbox as soon as you sign up. Head over to worksmartcounseling.com/signup. That's worksmart, counseling.com/signup. Or go to my show page on infloradio.com and get on the list today. All right, let's get back to the show. I'd love to answer your questions. Give me a call in today's episode, recorded live, by dialing the U.S. number 1-760-456-7277. That's 1-760-456-7277, and let's see how we can improve your career. we are back. Just a short little break, not too long, right? All right. Thank you for sticking with me here. So I just told you that little story of my little, quote, career uprising back when I had my daughter and took a little break and came back and was refreshed. So if we fast forward about 5 years from that story, I had another uprising of sorts. And this one was entirely different, yet the principle of it is really the same. So as I kind of alluded to you earlier, I left the corporate world at a pretty young age, I guess, by most people's standards. I was only 32. And this required me to absolutely cut through a tremendous amount of fear and self-doubt that I didn't even know I had until I put myself into that position. But I had, so before I did that, before I actually left, I had started my company. So I had a kind of side hustle going on. I still had a day job, but I was coaching clients kind of 1 or 2 a month on the side. And I was at a job that by most people's standards and by mine that I had defined was a fantastic job. Okay. So this is a couple of years after my first story. And now I have this job in the corporate world, and it was everything that I had said I wanted years ago and that I had been working so hard for. Because when I was in that first job, I was working nights, I was working weekends, I was working holidays, and now I had my daughter, and that just wasn't working for me. I needed to say, no, I needed something better. So what I said that I wanted was, a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 kind of schedule. I wanted an office. Yeah, I'll admit it, right? Sounds shallow maybe, but it's not. I wanted a private office. I was done with the cubicle life, right? I wanted to work in a big corporate office building, and I wanted to be home on the weekends, and I wanted, a certain salary. I had written these goals down. I just had it figured out, right? I had this really clear picture of what I wanted at that point, or what I thought I wanted. And I got it. So here I was just a couple of years ago at a great job where I had everything. I had the office. I had more money than I was ever making before. It was my highest salary so far. It was a job that was, although it was a fast pace and it was busy, it was easy, it was mundane. And that's why I was so good at it. I had great coworkers who were complimenting me and saying, "Oh, Lorraine, you're so good. You're so good at this job. Oh, we've had so much turnover. You're so much better than the other people that were here." Really, truthfully, I was good at what I did. And I was working at a well-known firm here in the DC area, and I had the salary, I had the office, I had great coworkers. Now I was commuting a long, long way, so I had long drives. I had 11-hour days, but I had Fridays off, right? I had a 4-day work week. Isn't that what we all want? Gosh, no, I know it was what I said that I had wanted. So I had all of these things that were really external, right? They had nothing to do with me or my emotions or anything internal. But I had manifested everything that I said on the outside that I wanted. And I think you might know what's coming here, right? You might know what I'm going to say next. But I still wasn't happy, right? Why? Because I was focusing on all the external things and not on how I wanted my job to make me feel, which I know now, right? So there I was going, I have everything I wanted. I have what most people would consider a great situation. What the hell's my problem? Why am I still not happy? Why is there still this voice in the back of my mind going, but you can do more. There's more out there. Go on, go out there, test the waters, put yourself in a scary situation, rock the boat, basically. Why did I need to rock the boat? Because there was still this longing in me. And that's what happens when you focus on manifesting, a new job or a new career, and you're only focused on the external things. You're not focused on how it will make you feel. So I became pretty much obsessed with starting my business because what I noticed was that was all I could think about. I was daydreaming about it. I was thinking about my clients. I was planning out what my day would look like if I was free and full-time coaching my clients. I found that even though I had everything I said I wanted, I was still dreaming about this other life that I basically had created in my head. And I had one foot in it and one foot in the corporate world still. So, in order to make it happen, it required an uprising on my part. I had to rise to the level that this new career that was calling me was going to require. And I had to do that by rocking the boat. So when the time was right, within a pretty short period of time, I had only been at this job for 7 months. Not long at all. And I did what might be unthinkable to other people, and I quit. I walked away from a good paying job in a healthy, not toxic environment, and I walked away. And I'm not going to lie, I had some tears. It was hard. It was one of those resignations where you have to rehearse it. You're really nervous, right? To tell your boss this, because I had a great relationship with the boss that hired me and everybody I worked with. It was so hard. It was kind of gut-wrenching, honestly, to quit, even though I hadn't been there that long, because I knew really what a risk I was taking. But I did it. And here I am. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't be talking to you today. So that's another uprising that I had. So the point of these stories is that change comes from within. The uprising comes from within. You are the one who starts it. Always, every time, no exceptions. All right? So I'm sure that you have a similar story to tell in some manner. I'm sure that you do. And who knows what other uprisings might be waiting for me. I feel like, and it's because it's not over. It's not over. Even though I have this great business and I'm working for myself and I love what I'm doing, I still find that I have to put myself in uncomfortable positions all the time. I constantly do things that scare the hell out of me. I really do. And I truly, truly believe that is probably the number one reason for my success. I really believe it is, because I voluntarily and regularly put myself in positions that are uncomfortable, that require me to rise up and to show up bigger and better than I ever did before. And there's more opportunities. It's not over for me. I don't know if all of that ever really goes away, right? I think that if it does go away and I suddenly get completely comfortable with everything that I'm doing, that's not a good sign, right? If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So that's what an uprising really is. And I chose that name because I feel like it really embodies what we're all looking for. It does. And it certainly for me embodies what I'm all about, what my career journey has been all about, and what I've intentionally manifested for myself, leading me to this day right now, talking to you and hosting this awesome new show. Not to mention, I think it plays nicely off my last name, don't you think? Lorraine Rise? UpRising. I love it. I think it was meant to be. I really think that name was just kind of out there waiting for me. But something tells me that you're a lot like me and that you want to up level. Maybe you want to get promoted. Maybe you want to get a raise. Maybe you want to find work that you love doing that just doesn't even feel like work. Or maybe you want to get out of the unemployment cycle for good, and be one of those kind of lucky people who just seems to be able to attract a job instantly, right? Well, there's more to it than that. They're not lucky, but that's what the UpRising is about. It's about not settling. It's about asking bigger questions and demanding more from life and yourself. Because when we demand more from life, we're always demanding more from ourselves. So maybe for some people, it's about letting go of a toxic job and trusting yourself. Oh my God, do I have a story for you guys around that one? I'll save that for another episode. But I absolutely do know how it feels to be in a really negative situation where you feel like you have to get out immediately. Maybe it's about starting a business, if that speaks to you. I might know a little something about that too. Or maybe for you, maybe it's about launching a job search at age 50 or 60. Does that sound like fun? Probably not, right? But people do it, and I coach clients through it all the time. But you want to up level, and I think you want to reach higher altitudes than you ever have before. So join me on this show. We're going to continue to talk about overcoming fear, self-doubt, low self-confidence, how to find work that you're passionate about, how to get to a place in life where you wake up and you actually want to go to work every day. What would that be like, right? We're going to talk about how to get unstuck, creating that ever elusive work-life balance that we talk about. We're going to talk about the concept of, quote, having it all. What does that mean? And is it even possible? We're going to talk about setting career goals and why probably every goal you've ever created in your life is way too small. I love talking about goal setting. We're going to talk about launching job searches, interviewing authentically, and so much more. We're probably going to talk about how to deal with those people that you have to deal with at work, right? Those coworkers, love them or hate them, right? How to be more engaged at work. All of these things. And I want you to join me. So that's my invitation for you, is to join me on this journey through this show and join the UpRising. Maybe we'll start a movement. Who knows, right? But there's a number of ways that you can connect with me. And this show is only one of those ways. So I am on social media. I will tell you that I am somewhat reluctantly, but I'm there, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Technically, I'm on Twitter. There's a lot of places that you can find me. So if that's somewhere that you hang out, you'll find me. I'm actually going to be starting a Facebook group called Career UpRising by the same name. So, but you can also just find my company page if you look for Work Smart Career Counseling on Facebook. Hopefully that won't be too confusing. I've got kind of two names going here. You'll find me either way if you search for either one of those. But yeah, I am definitely there. I'm on Facebook, and of course you can find me on Inflow Radio every Monday at noon Eastern, right about lunchtime. I kind of did that on purpose, right? Because they say that that Mondays are actually the number one day for job searching. I would have thought that it might be the weekend, but it's not. Most people look for work when they're at work, which I think is really ironic. So if that's you, maybe, and you're here on the East Coast, we're broadcasting every Monday right about lunchtime. So I hope that you join me on your lunch hour. But if not, it will be at 9 a.m. over on the West Coast, 10 Mountain, 11 Central. So whatever time zone you're in, I hope this finds you at a good time. But if not, you can always catch me on demand, whatever time you'd like. Gosh, and I remember, so about that, I'm a podcast junkie myself. I love them. And I remember being in my office at that last job that I was telling you about. And I would listen to podcasts on my phone. I would have the phone on my desk, and I would be listening to all of these podcasts. Summer McStraffic was one of them, no doubt about that. I've been in her community for, probably 10 years, I think. Long time. So I've really come full circle with this whole Inflow Radio thing. But I remember listening to some other folks too, and I would set the phone on my desk, and while I was working, I would be listening to all these podcasts of all these other voices in my ear, business coaches, life coaches, that kind of thing, just getting that daily dose of inspiration as best I could, wanting to leave my job. It's so funny. But yeah, that's how we'll be broadcasting. But there's a lot of other ways that you can connect with me. So like I said, I hope that you will go to Facebook and find me there and join that group. It's going to be kind of like a little spot where fans of the show can kind of gather. I'll be popping in myself and giving advice, answering questions, and you can maybe make some new friends in that group as well. And I do online webinars. This is kind of a newer thing in my business, but I'm really excited about it. I actually did my first online free training webinar in March, and I think it was a smashing success, if I may say so. So that's another way that you can connect with me from time to time is if you go to my website, worksmartcounseling.com. You can kind of peruse through there and see some of the offerings that I have as from time to time. But so if you like kind of like the online thing, if you like to learn that way, I do webinars. I'm hoping to do another one pretty soon here in the weeks ahead. So you've got Facebook, you've got my webinars, you've got this show now, and if you're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. That's where I am all the time because what I do is so career focused. And so if you're on LinkedIn, feel free to, send me a connection request or anything like that. But you're on Facebook too. Don't lie, right? I have to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is a great way for people to really gather social media. It is. So I hope that you go and check all of those things out. You can also, of course, you can go to my show page on inflowradio.com. That's a great way to learn more about me and what I do. And if you want to just go to my website too, worksmartcounseling.com. That's probably where you can get the best information about me. And I actually have one other goodie. I think I promised you a free gift, right? I do have one for you. So if you've been listening to that, I did not forget. But I have this free gift that I have developed. It's called Strategies for Interview Success. And it's a kind of a little PDF guide that you get instantly in your inbox if you want to opt into my email community. Of course, I have an email list and it's been growing by leaps and bounds. And that's really, really a great way to stay in touch with me and with what I offer. And so if that sounds good to you, go to worksmartcounseling.com/sign up and just put in your name, put in your email, and you can opt in right there and you will get Strategies for Interview Success right into your inbox. And I've designed this as a way to just kind of give you some tips and give you a good boost in the next interview that you have, how to be prepared, what questions you want to prep for, what questions you should be maybe asking the employer. Interview coaching is something that I love to help people through. And I'm also going to be bringing on a guest in the weeks ahead that I'm really, really excited about. This is a gal that I worked with in my private coaching practice. It was just about a year ago. And she made a phenomenal career transition. She was actually, and I don't want to tell too much, I want her to tell her story, but she was a public school teacher, and she has made a terrific transition into a completely new field, unrelated completely to what she was doing as a public school teacher. And I think she has a really, really fantastic story to tell. So maybe that's another title for the show, Career Storytellers. That's kind of what we're going to be doing, really. I've told you my stories, and I have plenty more that I will weave into all of this. But you're going to hear stories from my clients, the challenges that they've had, the problems that they face, things that they have overcome, how they've been able to get back to work quickly. I really can't wait to share all of these things. And I really think that we're going to play around with some different formats. Like I said, we're going to do interviews. We're going to do live calls. You'll get my good old fashioned monologue like you're getting today. And I maybe even also bring on some other career experts that from my network that have some additional expertise to offer you. I'm really, really excited to kind of dig into my own network and see who else, besides just hearing my voice the whole hour, right? I'm sure you love that, but we're going to bring some other voices in as well. And we're all going to be here for you to help you through whatever challenges you might be having, whatever transition you want to go through. And if you think that it speaks to you to even take it a step further, in addition to everything else I'm doing, so in addition to the podcast that I'm doing and webinars and being a mom and writing blogs and being a Girl Scout leader and all those things that I do, I still take on quite a few coaching clients from time to time, depending on what that month looks like. So there's room if you want to work with me personally, one-on-one as your career coach. I have a couple of programs that are phenomenal for that. I have the Career Jumpstart, and I have the Career Transformation. These programs are beautifully designed for clients who are going through various types of transitions. The career transformation is good if you are going through a major transition or you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, even if you're 45. It's a great one for that. And the Career Jumpstart is great for somebody who has maybe a pretty clear direction and knows pretty much what they want to do, but they just don't know how to get there and they don't know how to get into the job search. Or maybe for somebody who just wants to work on their confidence in interviews and know how to answer interview questions and not be terrified when that comes up. So there's a lot of things too. And I also, as I told you earlier, my business has grown to the level I'm so blessed that I have been able to hire some folks to help me. So I have a great team of resume writers that also support my business. So if you're looking for us to actually take the writing off your plate so it's done for you, and you need somebody to write your resume, write your cover letter, write your LinkedIn profile, whatever it may be, we can do that too. So there's a ton of ways that you can connect with me. And you can find, like I said, you can find me on Twitter too. I'm not as big into Twitter, but I'm there and I will definitely be here on Inflow Radio every Monday, 12 noon Eastern, with another episode where we'll dive into another topic. And so I hope that you join me. So that's about it for episode 1. And so I hope you joined it. We're going to tackle some really meaty topics here pretty soon. But in the meantime, why don't you go to my show page on inflowradio.com and join my Facebook group and go to worksmartcounseling.com/sign up. And I hope that you will also consider possibly calling in on a future episode, because I'd love to connect with you live to be able to do that. And the number again for that is 1-760-456-7277. Thanks, guys. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show was brought to you by inflowradio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.